Have you ever seen such a funny dog? Every time it sleeps, it must learn to cover itself with a quilt like people do. Otherwise, this dog can't fall asleep at all. It's time for the dog to sleep again. It lies on the sofa. The owner, seeing its closed eyes, wants to try it once. Can this dog sleep without a quilt? The dog has been lying on the sofa for half an hour, and its eyes are still open. Looking at the dog's appearance, the owner knows that it seems that today's experiment has failed again. Since the people at home covered themselves with quilts, this smart dog has also learned from the owner to cover himself with a quilt before he can sleep. So every time it sleeps, the owner must prepare a small quilt for it to lay on. If it doesn't have a blanket on it, it will keep its eyes open like now. No matter how long it lies on the sofa, it can't fall asleep. This dog is really amazing. Even the owner of such a lazy dog can't help it. I wanted to tease it and kept dragging its little mouth with my fingers. The dog simply turned upside down and took the most comfortable position. At this time, the owner knew that the time had come and he had to take out the quilt. The small quilt was draped over the dog. Sure enough, the puppy fell asleep in a short while. Don't you think this is strange? As long as there is a quilt, it will sleep very soundly. After so much time, the dog can't sleep all the time. The owner must wake him up, otherwise this dog is too energetic tonight and the whole family can't sleep. But at this time, the dog also began to half close his eyes. He was already in a state of half awake and slightly awake. When the owner saw him like this, he knew to wake him up quickly. The best way is to stick out the pink tongue. The puppy looks cute and adorable. He doesn't want to wake up because the quilt is like an extra layer of safety shield. He sleeps very soundly. The owner saw him and knew he had to wake him up, but he was afraid of the dog's strong mood when he woke up, especially after he lifted his blanket. The puppy's mood was quite intense. The owner watched and waited, always wanting the dog to wake up by himself. But after waiting for so long, the dog was still asleep, and the sleeping posture looked quite cute. Looking at the dog's sleepy eyes, the owner finally couldn't help but poke the puppy's tongue with his finger. At this time, the puppy with its tongue out put its tongue in and opened its eyes. It stood up with a grunt. Seeing the owner in front of it, it knew it was time to get up. Fortunately, the dog slept for a long time today. It's long enough to say that it must have had enough sleep. But the owner suggested waking it up and there was no way to continue covering it with its little blanket. The dog was still very angry. The puppy's head was still confused. It hadn't woken up from sleeping under the quilt yet. It was still sticking out its tongue and looking at its owner with its eyes open. The owner was moved by its cute appearance and stroked its hair. The puppy was also cute and adorable. But when he thought that he was woken up by his owner, the puppy slowly woke up from this cute state and let the owner tease him. When he opened his mouth, the owner took the opportunity to put his finger in his mouth. This really pissed off the puppy. He woke me up and teased me like this. It was simply, the puppy couldn't stand it anymore and started to scream at its owner. It was very fierce. Seeing the puppy like this, the owner was also confused by the puppy's appearance.